listening to Acoustic Songs Live from WNJR 91.7 FM, streaming at WNJR.org on the internet. My name is T. Mitchell Bell, and I'm your host this afternoon, along with Mary Welter, manning the boards in the studio. Our guest here today on Acoustic Songs is Bill Toms. Bill is from Pittsburgh. What part of Pittsburgh, Bill?
Well, I live in the South Hills area, Scott Township.
Okay.
Is where I live now. Yeah.
Okay. And Bill is going to be playing, he has a new CD coming out. It's just recently coming out, Live at Moondogs, is that correct?
Yeah, it's called Live at Moondogs, Another Moonlight Mystery. And it's with my band, Bill Toms and Hard Rain. And it will be coming out on the 4th of May, retail, to all the retail stores. It's already available through the internet and through iTunes and Rhapsody and all that other stuff.
All right. So you want to dig into something off of the top here, something that maybe off of that CD? Or?
Well, I'm going to go, I don't think this song is on there since it's a band record. There's not a lot of acoustic things, but I'm going to play this song. This is called Give Me a Piece of the Good Life. Everybody, let me say, this ain't no way for a man to live. Working my fingers right to the bone, gave all I had, nothing left to give. Give me a piece of the good life, give me a piece of the pie, give me a piece of what's rightfully mine, and I won't bother you no more. Said I won't bother you no more. My brother died in the war, chasing down that pot of gold. I'm on a road crew in Georgia, trying to feed my family back home. Give me a piece of the good life, give me a piece of the pie, give me a piece of what's rightfully mine, and I won't bother you no more. Oh, I won't bother you no more. Everybody, let me say, well, I'm not schooled in this world, but I know that a man should reap the harvest of his work. Give me a piece of the good life, give me a piece of the pie, give me a piece of what's rightfully mine, and I won't bother you no more. Oh, I won't bother you no more. Well, I won't bother you. Oh, I won't bother you.
In case you just joined us, you're listening to Acoustic Songs Live here at WNJR Studios, and we have Bill Toms in the studio playing live for us. Great song, man. I mean,
well, thank you very much.
Yeah. That I'm getting like a feel of the Woody Guthrie,
Well,
Bruce Springsteen kind of.
Well, the Woody Guthrie thing is really, matter of fact, the next song I'm going to play has a lot more to do with that. But yeah, I was thinking about how in the past 20, 25 years or so, or the last generation of songwriters, kind of like bypassed the whole working man's mentality, I guess, or the standing up for the working man.
Yeah.
Is something that I didn't see happening too often anymore. We became, and I noticed that the unions, and I read that like only like 8% of all workers now are part of a union, and I felt that the haves and the have-nots, we have separated so much
Right.
in the last 20 or so years.
Yeah, well, politically,
Yeah.
ever since 1980, I think,
Yeah.
with the
trickle down economics.
Yeah, plus all the, I think it was the air traffic controllers kind
Right.
of set the whole
Yeah,
tone for the
exactly.
last 30 years, and growing up in this area, I came out of high school, I thought I was going to be a steel worker.
Yeah.
My grandmother worked at Washington Steel for 30 years,
Yeah.
and I thought I was going to be, my buddy was working there right out of high school, and growing up in Washington, PA, you always knew who the steel workers were,
Right.
because they had the ball caps on, and they were usually driving a Cadillac or a
Right.
Continental, right?
Right,
So
right.
they were doing well.
Well, it's funny because I can remember as a kid, I grew up in Pittsburgh. I mean, we lived in Knoxville, a section of Pittsburgh, and I remember sitting on the front porch with all the kids in the neighborhood. My grandmother was there, and all the kids were saying what they wanted to be when they grew up. And I can remember distinctly my grandmother saying, "Well, you can always get work in the mill.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
can always get work in the mill." So that's
Yeah.
how I always thought up until in
Right.
the 70s, obviously. Things
Yeah.
started to change, but.
Yeah, I grew up here in Washington, and Washington, there's kind of the west end, east end dividing line, and all the mills are over on the west end, and I grew up over there. There's the glass factories and the steel mills, and you always could work at one of those things. And they're pretty much gone now. I mean, everything's shut down. There's still some business, like type of, I would say, blue-collar manufacturing type of,
Right.
it's pretty much moved overseas where labor's cheap, and companies can take advantage of them, and
Right.
they won't unionize. Anyway, we could have a long conversation
Yeah,
about that
yeah,
whole
definitely.
that whole thing. But so I was looking over your one-sheet bio and looking. We've never met before, but I was looking, and you started back in the 80s. We were talking earlier about you had a band called The Shades, and I guess that morphed into the House Rockers, the kind of joined together with Joe Grushecky and the House Rockers.
Right.
And so can you give us a little background history on that?
Well, there in the early 80s, we had a band called The Shades, and we would play in Pittsburgh and Shady Side and Oakland, and kind of got to know all the guys, the older guys that were playing, the Silencers and the Norman and everybody, and the House Rockers, and one thing led to another, in the bands, when the Iron City House Rockers broke up, our drummer, Jaffa Simmons, went and played with Joe, and then I kept The Shades for another year, and then after that it was like one of those timing things where my band was kind of like disintegrating, and the band that they had called Brick Alley was kind of disintegrating, and so we just we were talking, we put everything together, and the keyboard player and the drummer from The Shades and myself kind of formed together with with Art and Joe, and
So they morphed into Joe
morphed
Grushecky and the House
right,
Rockers.
right. And then we had, like, really shortly afterwards, we got a record deal with Rounder Records.
Yeah,
So
I
it was
saw
like
that.
pretty quick.
Yeah, I saw that.
That was put together.
Yeah, I remember I remember